Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Almighty Allah, the most gracious and merciful. Assalamu alaikum. Today I will be talking about the national eligibility test. The university grants national eligibility test, but presently this exam is being conducted by the National Testing Agency in India. It's an exam in India, especially for the people who are doing post-graduation and they have completed their second semester and then have passed their second semester of post-graduation and are presently in the third semester. It is the exam they are eligible for this exam, and this exam is what we can say it is an eligibility for becoming an assistant professor, for becoming a lecturer. For example, we can say that it is like a license which the government provides you, and it's a minimum eligibility for becoming a teacher and assistant professor or a lecturer and teach a subject in the college or the university level. As a candidate, the eligibility for this National Testing Agency NET National Eligibility Test is you should be doing post graduation. Especially you should have cleared your second semester and you should presently be in the third semester. That is the minimum criteria which a candidate should have while appearing for the NET, and after completing his PG he can give NET as many attempts he can. And another thing which is related to NET is JRF, Junior Research Fellowship, but it is the same exam is being conducted for both the NET as well as the JRF in various subjects and various disciplines. But the eligibility, the maximum age limit for the JRF is 30 years. But for the NET, it can be given in any age. The NET exam can be qualified. So this national eligibility test, what is the eligibility? What is the pattern? What is the present pattern? When I did my masters, I gave my first national eligibility test when I had completed my second sem, when I passed my second sem, and I was presently in the third semester. But at the time I was totally unaware of what the national eligibility test is. People were saying just there's a NET exam, so I also went and gave my NET exam, but it was without any preparation. But even I really don't know the result of that my first NET exam. Really, you won't believe, I don't know the result. Did I qualify or not? I don't know. But thanks to Almighty Allah, the next time I gave was in 2011. At that time, I had just completed my post graduation and then I appeared for the NET exam. But at that time, at least after I think some months, it had become clear what is NET, why is it important, and if you have to come in academics, if you have to teach, then national eligibility test, qualifying national eligibility test is very important. So in 2011 December, I gave my NET, the second attempt of the NET, and thanks to Almighty Allah, I qualified that NET. But at that time, the NET was totally a different exam. It was a subjective exam. There were optionals, there were subjective questions, there were I think 3 papers. First was a general knowledge, general assessment, and then we had to give an objective paper related to our subject, and then the third was a subjective paper related to our subject, and there were I can't figure out the total number of questions in the third paper, but the questions were as per the number of words. For example, there were big questions which we had to write an answer in 500 or plus words, and there were some questions which we had to answer in 300 words, and some questions which we had to answer in less than 200 words or 100 words. So what is the present? And then after in 2012, I had also again applied for NET, because I was not knowing that will I be qualifying the previous NET or not. But thanks to Almighty Allah, I qualified that 11 NET, and then I appeared for NET JRF again, so that I thought I may qualify JRF this time. And thanks to Almighty Allah, the next time also I attempted and I qualified the NET but not the JRF. So in 2012 the objective style of the NET started. Both the papers were in objective as compared to the previous one, where one was subjective and the 2 were objective. So what is the present style, what is the present pattern of NET? So the NET, earlier it was known as UGC NET, now it is called as National Testing Agency NTA NET. So the exam is conducted by the NTA in India. And the pattern is, it's the first of all, it's an online exam. Now you have to sit before a computer, and then the link will be provided to you, and it will be opened at a specific time, and then you have to go for the exam. You have to attempt the exam, and when the first paper will be open before you, you have to click the right answers, and you can just move your mouse and then choose the right answer and click on that. But one thing, one positive thing in this type of online exam is that you can change the answer, for example, within the time frame. For example, if it has 1 hour time frame, if you feel if you have completed in 50 minutes, so that you can have a revise and then you can change the answer, which is not possible when it was an offline exam. So presently the NET exam is an online exam, and I think this year, maybe this year, it may not be happening in this season, because every time in India it happens twice a year. One is June and one is December, as per one we call as UGC NET. Earlier, as it was called as UGC NET, and also in 2018, I think it happened only once, and but because then the order was nullified, and then again in 2019 it was as per the earlier schedule. Two times it again started to happen in two seasons, in June and December sessions. So presently it's an online exam. And there are only two papers now. Earlier and in 2011 there used to be three papers. Presently there are only two papers now. So the first paper is a general paper, which includes general knowledge, current affairs, as well as teaching aptitude. For teaching aptitude, there are some small booklets which you can read. What are the there will be objectives on basic research, teaching research, basic teaching aptitude. What are the qualities of a teacher? What are the qualities of assistant professor? How should he teach? How should he influence the students? How should he give the best to his students? And how should the students understand him very easily? These are the things the first paper tests you, as well as the current affairs, as well as what we call as the current happenings, what are going in political scenario, what's happening in your society, what's happening in the media. Especially nowadays the media is a very important tool. Especially what are the important, for example, presently the important topic is COVID-19, the coronavirus. Maybe in the December session, if the national eligibility test happens, or whenever it happens in future, maybe there will be a lot of questions regarding the basic information, basic knowledge on COVID-19. So I will be talking about my own subject. What are the topics? What is the syllabus first? What are the topics which you need to focus more on when we are talking about national eligibility test in mass communication and journalism? So there are two papers, as I already told you. So the first paper, which I told you, it includes general knowledge, awareness, reasoning, teaching research. It has 50 questions, and each question has 2 marks. So it means the first paper you are going to attempt, it has 100 marks. And the next paper, which is related to your subject, for example, when I talk of my subject, mass communication and journalism, there will be obviously questions from the syllabus which has been provided by the UGC regarding the mass communication subject. The questions will be out of the. So the second paper will be regarding your specific subject. For example, when I talk of my subject, mass communication and journalism, the second paper will be having the questions of mass communication and journalism. There will be 100 questions with 200 marks in this paper. So the total of the two papers will be 300 marks. So out of 300 marks you have to score, and the basic eligibility, I think the basic cutoff is 50%, and more than 50% depends on how many seats, how many net seats are there as per, and then the candidates are chosen. And I think for JRF it is either 55% cutoff or 60% cutoff. Presently you have to check it out. It's either 55% or 60% for the JRF. And also to add here that there is no negative marks, there is no negative marking for both the papers. So presently, as per my subject, my focus is obviously on the second paper, which is directly related to the subject, my subject, mass communication journalism. When I am talking of national eligibility test, how to qualify it in the subject of mass communication journalism. But still, I will be giving you a brief about the first paper. It just has teaching aptitude, research aptitude, comprehension, communication reasoning, mathematical logical reasoning, as well as information and communication technology, basics of information and communication technology questions, what's happening in information communication, what is happening vis-a-vis people and development, what's going on in the as per the development sector in our country, as per the global development sector, global development index, country development index, GDP, other questions like that, as well as some have a look on the policies and programs of higher education, on health. As I told you, health this year is very important, especially go through the websites of ICMR, go through the websites of Ministry of Health, go through the websites of Ministry of Finance, go through the websites of Ministry of HR, Human Resource, Human Resource Development, go to the websites of Ministry of INB, especially Press Information Bureau and Bureau of Operation and Communication. Look what are the new press releases, what are the new developments which is going on vis-a-vis these very topics, especially higher education, especially people and development. And I just talked about this first paper because there are two subjects which are directly related to our subject, mass communication journalism, that is the communication part, the information and communication technology part, as well as higher education, which is also related to develop our mass communication, as well as people and development, which comes under we can say that development communication is part of this people and development topic. Others you might be knowing, they are the general reasoning, and other they are these questions appear in every exam. So what is this our second paper in mass communication journalism? When we talk of second paper, so the syllabus you people might have seen, or the ones who are freshers, they can just check it out, the syllabus of mass communication journalism for NET. So the basic, the first unit, I think the first unit is the basic introduction to mass communication journalism. The second is communication and development for social change, which you can find in the first paper also, people and development, as well as communication and higher education system. These also come under this very second unit of mass communication journalism. Reporting and editing is a specific field of mass communication. It's a specific professional field, which I'll be talking to you in later videos. Also advertising and marketing communication, PR and corporate communication. These are I'm just talking about the name of the topics in the syllabus. Another one is media laws and ethics, and another one is media management and production, information communication technology and media, ICT, which is also which I told you, information and communication technology, which is also in the first paper. So it means the first paper is very much related to your second important paper, the specific mass communication paper, as compared to the other subjects. Another unit is of this syllabus is film and visual communication and communication research. And as per when I went through some previous papers, as well as I talked to some of my friends, some of my peers, some of my students, and some of the people who have recently qualified or who have recently appeared in mass communication and journalism net exam. So I got the information that some of the important units, some of the important topics which are there, which come regularly in the paper of mass communication and journalism are, for example, communication research. It's a very important topic. Everyone, whomsoever I have talked to, and even the papers which I have seen, communication research is there. Questions from this to unit 10, it is in the syllabus. So there are a lot of questions from communication research. And they also said that there are some other topics which sometimes come and sometimes don't come, but these are the topics, these are the units where every year there are questions. So keep in mind communication research. Inshallah, in the future videos, I'll be making videos specifically on communication research. Keep an eye on communication research. Development communication is one more important topic. Keep an eye on the development communication, the important people who are behind development communication, the people who have worked on development communication. And even I want to share here that I was when I had applied for an assistant professor job, so this was the question regarding development communication was asked to me. So it's an important topic today. It was, I think, 2018 or 19 I had applied for that. Another important topic which most of the people to whom I talked, and in some question papers, so especially many of my friends and students told me that's another important unit from where many of the questions is the basics of mass communication and journalism, the basics of media, especially when we talk of theories, when we talk of models. So now I'm going to tell you the most important thing when you go for NET exam, National Eligibility Test exam, is that only those candidates who have seriously not only read the paper but who have seriously had 90% or above attendance in their PG, these people, these candidates, these students should go for national eligibility test. The people who have this 40-50% attendance and who haven't had regularly went for their classes in PG level, I think they should not waste their time for this mass communication journalism, for this national eligibility test, be it in any subject. Because I think when you give a class regarding mass communication and journalism, or your specific subject, then only you can clear your basic concepts. You cannot clear your basic concept by reading a book directly, because the teacher, whenever he teaches you, assistant professor, your teacher, your lecturer, your professor, whenever he teaches you, he tries to first spoon feed you. He tries to give you the basic knowledge, basic information which a book cannot give you. When you read books of PG level, of MPhil level, of doctorate level, you cannot get the spoon feeding material. The spoon feeding material, the basic feeding material which you need to clear your basic concepts of a specific subject, of your own subject, is only when you directly sit in your classes, when you directly attend your classes and listen to your teachers directly and note it down. Always keep in mind, whenever you go to your classes, especially in the post-graduation level, note every bit of a thing, every small thing, every specific thing, every general thing, note it down, write it down, and when you go home, do a revision to that. The people who have done it or who are presently doing PG and may in future may do it, these people should then go for the NET exam, because without having clear concepts, without having clear knowledge of your subject, without having basic knowledge of your subject, you cannot qualify such an exam. So this was some information regarding the national eligibility test. So just to sum up, at the end, just want to add that the time duration is 3 hours for both the papers, and after completing your first paper, when you go to the next paper and you complete and you start answering your second paper, your important paper which is related to your subject. So you can, if you completed the second paper in time or before time, you can just check out your first paper also. You can scroll down that. If you during that time, if you feel that there is some kind of a change, you can change the option. You can change the answer in any of the options. So the total time is 3 hours, and this online test, it happens in phases. I think in 5 days it happens in phases. It happens in per day. I think there are 1 or 2 phases. There are 2 phases per day, and I think it goes on for 5 days, as against the earlier the offline method that used to happen in 1 day. And in the offline method, there used to be that either a candidate can choose Hindi language or English language. Here also you have that option of choosing Hindi language or English language. And this was some of the important points, some of the basic points which you need to listen before going for this national eligibility test exam. So I think this year maybe it happens in December, and you should start preparing for that. Even the people who don't want to go in academics, actually this net qualifying is only because most of the people who want to go academics, because they need it as an eligibility for becoming a lecturer, assistant professor, as I told you. So even the people who in the field of mass communication journalism, who don't want to go in academics, who want to go in their professional field as journalists, reporters, correspondents, and whatever they want, anchors, whatever they want, or in administration, or in working in private sector or government sector, but still for their betterment, I think they should go for this national eligibility test exam, because it gives you a boost. Also, whenever you appear for an administrative exam, you appear in an interview for any other administrative or professional exam except teaching, when you talk of the NET exam, that you have qualified a NET exam, you definitely get a boost there. You definitely get extra marks there, because the examiners, the panelists, most of them, 90% of the panelists are teachers or assistant professors, are professors from different universities. So they give you an extra mark, they give you an extra edge over other candidates who are not net qualified. So this was my video on national eligibility test, and inshallah in next video I'll be talking about communication research, as well as I'll try to clear your doubts on basics of mass communication and journalism, the models, the theories, etc. Okay, Allah Hafiz, Assalamu alaikum.